Yo, and welcome back to Creeps and Crimes
Podcast.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Morgan. Happy Thursday. Happy episode 245.
245.
I made that up.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's right. Sure.
Yeah, sure.
We'll go with it. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy June. Happy Pride Month. Happy Tay-Tay month.
Happy Pride Month, everybody.
What a fun freaking month it is.
It is.
Best month in the world. That's what they always say.
And the heat is here.
Oh, guys.
The sun did not forget to remind us that it is fucking June.
And you know what's so funny is that Ryan HOLLOW told me the other day that
your friend,
me personally,
he called
me personally with his radar map and a fully edited video ready to show me, and he was like, "It's gonna be a cold June."
Oh!
And that is so fucking funny, Ryan.
90 degrees today.
90 degrees, and guess what? Of course, my AC went out. Only though, upstairs in the studio.
Woo!
Oh my God, what a freaking day it has been. It's been a freaking week. We're rolling.
Let's be real. It's going to be a freaking month. Until about your birthday, I think we're finally going to be able to breathe.
Yeah.
But for these next 3 weeks, I think you're going to be at the beach.
I'm going to be at the beach, so thank
you'll
God.
be able to breathe. I'm going to be a nervous wreck because I have a feeling that shit's going to come crashing.
Yeah, and in turn, I will also be a nervous wreck because, of course, in true just like Creeps and Crimes fashion, anytime I have to step foot out of Knoxville, the most important shit that could potentially happen to us happens. One of the biggest things that we've wanted to happen for a long time has officially happened and will go into effect when I'm gone.
Leaving little old me. Who's afraid of little old me?
Morgan's just gonna be out here just absolutely solo doing this. I actually had a talk with our girl Kate, and I was like, Kate, I don't know how much Morgan's gonna need you, but you might need to clear your schedule next week. you might be full time next week.
You might be editing full episodes.
Yeah, like I'm just saying,
knows?
Queen. I don't know. I'm just saying, clear the schedule because it's gonna be a rough time. Yeah, so more to come about that in the upcoming weeks, and we're very excited about it. But again, of course, it will happen the second I step foot out of this state. So good. I literally told Logan, I said, do you think I could somehow take the computer with me? And he was like, you could take a laptop with you. I said, well, it's so funny. I don't look at that laptop anymore. It's actually so funny.
Looks like we'll have to stop at the Mac store.
Yeah, it's so funny. Hee hee ha. When I was on the phone with Jack or Jeff or whatever his name was from Canada, from Apple,
throw it away.
He said burn it. So I don't know. And Logan literally said, are you talking about that situation that happened like almost 5 years ago?
Yes, that's exactly what.
Yeah, 100%. I'll never forget it.
That's so funny you bring up the laptop because today I had a conversation with one of my coworkers and I was like, I'll probably never see my laptop again.
No.
Because my brother has it.
Yeah.
Marshall needed it for school. Mm-hmm. My mom was like, I'm not buying you one. And,
so you had to be a good big sis.
And I was a good big sister because I was like, he literally needs to graduate.
Yeah,
like,
let's be graduate college.
So serious.
Yeah.
Let's
get him out of here.
I'll be okay without it.
He should have given you his diploma.
But honestly, like, he can have it and we can just go get new ones.
We'll just go get new ones because we'll
never use them. Well, but in times like we should at least have one.
We should just have one.
And just get a CNC iCloud.
Because that just is going to make the most sense. Yeah. Well, you can do it to where you can log into 2 different iClouds. So like we could do whatever we needed to do and have just one. And we should, because like if one of us we're going out of town, like we need to have that. We have nothing that like if, let's say, I don't know, both of our computers crashed, what are we going to do?
Looks like we're going
buy another computer.
Looks like we're going on the PC.
I guess, but like I don't even think you can plug it in there.
Yeah, I don't
There's
think so
definitely
either.
not GarageBand on there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we would do.
Descript? I don't know.
Oh, remember
We'd
that
have
one?
to record into Descript.
I'll never forget, guys.
Or we would do like
if you're on Patreon, 27 Club was the first and only episode we ever recorded on Descript.
Yeah.
And remember we sat in front of the computer the entire time?
I don't remember.
I'll never forget it.
Where were we? Here?
We were in
another house.
Aaron's room, but it was before we did.
Why did we do
It was before we got the black studio. So it was when we just like taped everything, when we moved studios and we just taped that picture wall back onto the wall. My desk was in the corner of the room. Like if you just walked into it, like where your chair sat in like regular episodes whenever it was the black studio. And I angled it and we sat in front of it in our chairs and we read our notes off the computer, but we had Descript going beside it, and it didn't show audio waves when you're recording. It doesn't show anything like that. Yeah. And we were like, how the fuck do we know if this is recording? Like, what do we do?
And we never did it again.
No, we never did it again. Because I didn't like how it sounded at the end of it. Yeah, I'd rather put it into Descript.
Well, that's always our backup plan, though. Riverside
always, which we still pay $19.99 a month for, which I'm about to cancel it.
Yeah, well,
I know the second I do, it's just gonna. But it doesn't matter.
Especially with this upcoming year, I feel like we are gonna need it.
We're gonna need it a lot. But I could just, cancel it and get it back whenever we need it.
That's such a pain in the ass.
I know it is such a pain in the ass because it also has everything saved in the cloud that we've ever done on there.
Yeah.
So that's nice to have.
True. Did you see my text right before I sent you those pictures?
No. What was it?
I had a English muffin.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Cream cheese, everything bagel seasoning, and cucumbers.
That sounds
It
phenomenal.
was so crunchy, fresh, salty, warm at the same time,
that sounds
but cool.
So good.
It was so fucking good. And I need another one.
You know what I had this weekend? I made what's the Kylie Jenner?
What's that?
My eye is blind. I'm blind in my right eye currently. It feels like there's like a cobweb across it.
Wait, not to also change it back to me, but I was sticking somebody today, a patient, and you know how your eyes just go cloudy?
Yes.
And like something's in there, but you have no idea. Well, that happened like right before I put the needle in.
Oh, that's horrible.
And I was like, put it in there, and I was like, I'm sorry. She's like, are you okay?
No.
And I was like, I think I just stuck you blind. I'm not even gonna lie right now. I can't see out of my left eye. It was really funny.
No, that's
anyway,
stressful.
Kylie Jenner.
Her sandwich, a grinder sandwich where you chop it all up.
Oh, like the yes.
Yeah. I made one of those this weekend, and I got the best bread from Kroger to put it on. It was delish. And I've thought about it every day since, and I've like made deconstructed versions of it because I did not have it in me to chop all that shit up again.
Yeah.
It was delish, and I've been thinking about it ever since. So 10 out of 10 recommend. It was a great, like, we had been working outside. We came in, I made it, we ate it, and it was so like nice. I think I'm gonna make that at the beach.
That's so summer.
I cannot see out of my right eye right now. So that's really funny. Would you just want to get to the episode, or you got anything else to say?
What are you the CEO of?
Oh my God. All right. Long intro. So I'm the CEO of today. I'm Little Miss Unlucky because it has just, on top of the AC being out, I'm on my period. Morgan's also on her period. Welcome back. It's period week. Who's synced? Let us know. Drop it in the comments. Woke up this morning and it was only day 2. So I thought, or day 3. So I thought, it's today Tuesday. So
yeah, you said to me, in their text too, you're like, and then we can do that on Wednesday. I'm like, she thinks we're recording Monday, Wednesday this week. We're not.
I have no idea.
I just didn't tell you because you were having a bad day.
Yeah, I literally, I have no idea.
You're
what
like,
day
and
it
we
is.
can do that when we record on Wednesday. I was like, oh God, she thinks today's Monday.
I did. I really did. I thought today was Monday. I did not know that today was freaking Tuesday. In fact, when I woke up Monday morning, though, I thought it was Tuesday because I thought, oh my God, I didn't put out the TBV. So I ran up here and I edited it, and then I was like, oh, now I'm done.
I texted my dad. I said, go listen.
No.
I texted my dad. I said, go listen to the new episode.
Why?
And then I went to
Entertainment?
I said, disregard.
Cancel. Next week. Next week.
So funny.
Anyways, I wake up this morning, guys. This is before I even knew about the AC. I don't know what day it is. First off, I slept like shit last night. I was up every freaking 30 minutes. And I wake up on my freshly cleaned sheets in a fucking massacre.
No.
Came upstairs, started working. I was like, I want to get my day started. It's okay. It's fucking 100 degrees up here. And then I'm sweating so bad that I don't know, I'm bleeding through my tampon for a second time. I bleed all over the chair. Had to clean the chair.
I'll never forget the one time we recorded. I said, is that period blood? You're like, oh, I thought I got it all.
That happens to me all the time. This chair I've bled through on 100 million times.
So funny.
So anyways, that happened, and then a bunch of other shit happened. I'm not getting into it. I've had a bad fucking day.
Well, not to be a pick-me girl, and this is probably going to really piss you off, but the last like probably 4 months now, I've had the lightest periods ever.
That's so nice.
I'm on just like light tampon. Sometimes I free bleed.
That's so great.
Like I just pull one
jealous.
in. But I Fred bread.
I Fred bread. I've been Fred bread.
I free bled all day today, and
That's
I'll probably do it
nice.
tomorrow. CEO of Unlucky then. Little Miss Unlucky.
Little Miss Unlucky.
Well, I would say that I am the CEO of
Crick in the Neck?
Crick in the Neck.
Tell me the purpose of the poll on Instagram.
This Instagram poll. Okay, so I have always said I have a kink in my neck my whole life. On Sunday, I woke up and I mean, my whole back, I was telling you yesterday, my whole back, it was just getting worse and worse. It feels a lot better today.
Good.
My back, my neck, I had a headache. Everything was just sore. Like I fucked it up. However, I slept on Sunday. I said to Aaron Sunday morning, I was like, he's like, what's wrong? I was like, I got a crick in my neck.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck is a crick in your neck?
He's never been around me before a day in his life.
I'm like, a crick in your neck.
A crick.
And like, I couldn't remember the other word. I couldn't remember kink.
Yeah.
Right? And he was like, that's not what it's called. It's called a kink in your neck. And I'm starting to make fun of him. I'm like, oh, you kinky? Yeah. Oh, that hurt.
He's like immediately, like, you just got shrugged by lightning.
And anyway, so I forgot that I had even said that. And I was like, wait, I've always said kink.
Yeah, you've always said
kink. And so then I started, I texted PA girls first. Yeah. I knew what you said.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck is a crick in your neck?
What?
They're like a crick you go and play in?
No.
That's a creek.
That's a creek.
And
that's coming from me.
I asked a couple patients yesterday. And I was trying to narrow it down because one guy's like, no, I'm from Boston and Crick. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, this is weird. So then in my Monopoly Go little friend group I got going on with Seth, and we always say Callie. It's actually Kaylee. So sorry, Kaylee.
Kaylee? Damn it.
She never corrected us. I already called her out on it.
Oh?
And Sherry, and then a couple other people. And they were all like, it's Crick. And Kaylee, a.k.a. Callie, you guys have heard us reference her.
I cannot believe that. No, that just shook
blames,
the shit out of me.
She blames her mom for spelling her name like that.
I mean, it is spelled Callie.
Yeah.
In our defense. You know that if there's not a pronunciation behind it.
And we've said your name 100,000 times.
100,000 times. How'd you even know we were talking about you?
And she was like, I just say my fucking neck hurts. Like... And she's from Massachusetts. So I'm like, okay, I need a larger audience because it wasn't narrowing down like north and south for me. Like home people were saying kink, yes, but like I was still getting some patients from up north that were saying crick, and so then I put that.
I've always used them kind of interchangeably, but most of like naturally, I'm gonna say kink.
And let me tell you,
I mean, that no. Naturally, I'm gonna say I got a crick.
683 people said kink, and 326 people said crick. Now, when I scroll through this list,
you're primarily northern?
No.
Really?
I have people my roommates in college that say kink that are from Knoxville.
Really?
I had some cricks from like high school. And so now I'm confused. It must have just been a household thing.
Yeah, I think it's just interchangeable.
It's not,
but like, I know what both are. I've never not heard of the other.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sorry,
anyway,
I'm so blind.
But for a second there, I was like, to Aaron, I was like, oh my God, did the South get me?
Did they catch me? Well, we did get you a soda and Coke, not pop.
I made that switch real quick. But yeah. I have been taken by the South. I'm a Southerner.
Yeah, and are you gonna say crayfish or are you gonna say crawdaddy?
I want to say crayfish.
I don't know. I think there was a few, like, something happened.
I'm not there yet.
You said a crawdaddy to me one day. You did, but
probably out of respect.
To say it to me because like crayfish, I'm just gonna absolutely just.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet to be. I'm your auntie, and I think you're gonna be a beautiful baby crawdaddy.
I'm your auntie, and I think you're gonna be a big old extra large Hardee's Coke
with a crick in your neck. Alrighty, if you're driving, throw that shit on cruise control.
If you got a glass, pour that shit up,
and let's get
creepy. I can't fucking see.
What the
fuck? Okay, Morgan, what do you have for us today?
Okay.
What?
You're gonna love this.
Okay.
So I kind of have a part 2 to Mount Kailash.
Oh, shit. Okay, here we go.
It's also kind of a part 3 to another thing that I've covered.
Okay.
So we discussed very briefly the theories surrounding what this mystical mountain might be hiding underneath or within. And of that short list was the theory of the lost civilization of Agartha, which I'm gonna probably say Agartha a million times because I was saying it in my head while typing it.
Yeah.
It's Agartha.
I do that shit
But
to
it was
myself.
Agartha all along.
Yeah, all along.
And the best part about today's topic is that it basically relies on one of my favorite conspiracy theories I have ever covered.
What?
Hollow Earth.
Oh, shit.
So we're on like a part 2 of Hollow Earth
From
and a part 2
season 1.
of Mount Kailash.
Oh my God. And you don't have to go back and listen to it. We'll give you the synopsis. The entrance to the Hollow Earth is in the cave in Kentucky where Adam and Eve went to the Garden of Eden. Period.
There's entrances all over. It's the Hollow Earth, baby.
That's all you need to know. That's the
Okay.
synopsis.
So before we begin, just for a second, let's send everybody, all of the besties, into a little psychosis.
Okay.
So let's pretend that everything you have ever known about the Earth, what science has proved, what Taylar and I fought about on mic, beneath our feet is 4 layers, the crust, the mantle, the outer core, the inner core. Let's just pretend, okay.
And the new ocean that they found.
Under the ground, in the core levels?
Yeah, like 3 down. It's double the ocean that we have on top.
So it's a Hollow Earth.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's not like water. It's water in a retinol.
Retinol?
Basically, it's
Magic
like
to perfect skin.
It's like solid water, like crystallized water.
Crystals.
And they found tunnels that like it's connected to the regular ocean on top. I don't fucking know.
Okay, so
But
maybe
it's crazy.
Maybe Holly
Earth.
Maybe Holly Earth is looking a little more appealing.
Yes.
Okay, so let's pretend for today's purpose that this isn't the case, and that maybe there's this version of Earth where underneath of us, instead of those 4 things, or maybe with those 4 things, is a realm that's untouched by today's chaos, the pollution, and instead it's a place of peace, harmony, higher knowledge, and energy. Energy that has been there for thousands of years. This is what spiritual traditions and ancient texts have pointed to. A hidden world called Agartha. Agartha, or sometimes spelled, it's like Agharti, but it's pronounced Agartha, is said to be a vast underground realm existing within the hollow spaces of the earth. It's not a cave or a cavern, but it's an entire world. A place that has sprawling cities, advanced technology, and a civilization that vibrates at a higher frequency, way higher than anything on the surface. Many legends suggest that the inhabitants of Agartha are these spiritually advanced beings, almost alien-like, that live in harmony with universal energies. In this world, war, greed, and ego are not a thing, and technology is powered by limitless, clean energy.
Okay.
Communication happens through thought, illness is rare, and peace is the norm.
Let's go.
But Agartha doesn't exist in isolation. Its twin, its ally, its spiritual bestie
Twinkie
is the legendary kingdom of Shambhala. In Buddhism, Tibetan Kailash teaches that Shambhala and Agartha are a duo. What I mean by this is that Shambhala is believed to actually be the seat of governance of Agartha. Please note, they're not the same, just hand-in-hand bestie kingdoms. So what is Shambhala? Shambhala is a spiritual kingdom in Tibetan Buddhist tradition. It's not a physical place, but a realm of spiritual guidance. It's ruled by these enlightened kings whose lineages of spiritual masters guide not just their own people, but humanity as a whole. It's mentioned in the Kailash Tantra, which is also known as the Wheel of Time. In the teachings of the Kailash, the story goes that King Manjusrikirti, King M, who was born in 159 BC, ruled over a kingdom of 300,510 followers of the Mieka religion. Some of these followers also worshiped the sun, and these were called solar worshippers. Surya Samadhi is what they were called. However, when the Kailash came about, aka the Wheel of Time, King M wanted all 300,000 plus of his followers to convert from solar worship to Wheel of Time worship, to the Kailash. However, there was about 20,000 people that were like, we're going to stick to worshiping the sun. We like the sun versus the wheel of time. So he banishes these people, expels them from his kingdom. However, as time went on, King M realized that those 20,000 solar worshippers that he banished were some of the wisest and some of the best of his people. So he asked them to return, and some of them did, but there was a lot that did not.
Yeah,
and those that did not return are said to have created their own kingdom, the kingdom of Shambhala.
Okay.
Shambhala is ruled by the future Buddha Maitreya. And I say future because I don't think that their time works like ours. Like, they're in a completely different spiritual realm. It's not the same as our timeline. So I guess he would be the future king for us if times ever met up. I don't know. I was really confused by that, but that's kind of how I took it. And the Kala Chakra prophesies that when the world declines into war and greed and all is lost, the future Buddhist king Maitreya of Shambhala will emerge with a huge army that will vanquish dark forces and usher in a worldwide golden age.
Okay.
The final battle, so this prophecy, is for the year of 2424 or 2425.
Are we dead?
Which is, yeah, we'll be dead. Which is the, way dead, the 3,304th year after the death of Buddha. Now, where the spiritual realm resides is unknown, but many ancient art and text suggest that it is located in a place beyond physical reality, aka the hollow earth. Some believe that Shambhala is the capital of Agartha. Others think that it's just kind of their sister kingdom, two bestie realms linked by a spiritual purpose, if you will. Regardless, many traditions agree that it exists in or beneath the Himalayas, near Mount Kailash, or perhaps between the Himalayas and the Gobi Desert. There is also an assumption that the residents have this superhuman intelligence and a way better way of life than us here on the surface, that their technology is far beyond ours, their energy is clean and limitless, war, greed, and ego don't exist.
I mean, for them to go this long without being detected, then it's gotta be pristine down there.
Yeah. The idea of Agartha intersects with ancient Hindu beliefs as well. In Hindu mythology, it's linked to the Aryavardhas, which is a lost noble race of humans forced underground by some sort of large-scale violent event in the world, which, if I had to guess, would be the Great Flood.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened to the Lemurians, that's what happened to Atlantis, that's, you know.
Everything revolves around that.
The Great Flood, yeah.
The Great Flood.
They are said to have built vast tunnel systems and spiritual sanctuaries underground. These ideas were then picked up and reinterpreted in the 19th and early 20th century by a Russian mystic in the late 1800s named Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, who founded a spiritual movement called Theosophy. She claimed to be in contact with ancient enlightened beings that she called the Masters of the Hidden Brotherhood. The Masters of the Hidden Brotherhood were said to dwell in remote parts of the world, especially Tibet, the Himalayas, and beneath the earth itself. She never called it Agartha or Agarthians specifically, but her writings would then help popularize the idea of three things. One, humanity once lived alongside advanced civilizations like Atlantis and Lemuria. Two, these ancient peoples retreated underground during some sort of great mass destructive event, the Great Flood. And three, the inner earth is now home to these ascended masters who will guide humanity from afar. So that's kind of the first documented, besides like the ancient teachings in Hinduism and Buddhism, this is kind of the first documented part of Agartha, I guess you would say. So early 1800s is when it started like getting written down on today's conversation paper.
I know what you're saying. I'm here with you 100%.
Okay.
But like, I know that what we're saying is not real words put together, you know?
Yeah. And it's just crazy in general.
Yeah, that whole thing's just mind-blowing.
But it was her work that planted the seeds for nearly every modern concept that we have today of Agartha, Shambhala, and the Hollow Earth. So fast forwarding to 1922, there was a Polish scientist, writer, and explorer named Ferdynand Ossendowski who published a travelogue titled Beasts, Men, and Gods.
Oh.
This travelogue chronically told his escape from Bolshevik forces across Siberia and Mongolia. But here's where it gets strange. During his escape, while hiding in monasteries and traveling with Buddhist monks, Ferdinand claimed to have been told secrets of stories passed down from generations about a hidden underground kingdom called Agartha. The monks I don't know why I said I was going to say Buddhist monks, but the bunks.
The bunks.
The monks spoke of a king of the world, a godlike figure who rules Agartha from a golden throne and who can telepathically influence events on the surface by predicting disasters, guiding spiritual awakenings, and even manipulating politics to maintain balance. The monks said that this king was waiting for the right moment to return, and when humanity was on the brink of destruction through war, greed, or spiritual decay, he would rise again to restore harmony. And Ferdinand didn't treat this as a fantasy. He claimed that this belief was sincere, it was widespread throughout the Buddhist monks, and it was deeply embedded in the spiritual traditions of the monasteries, which everything that they're saying lines up with the Shambhala prophecy, like we discussed earlier.
Right.
After his book, the idea of Agartha exploded in Western occult circles. In the early 20th century, there was various secret societies, especially those that were connected to theosophy, that began speaking pretty openly of Agartha as a real place of great spiritual significance. It was believed to be a place of ancient wisdom from pre-flood civilizations. It was the home of the Great White Brotherhood, like Helena had said, which is the group of ascended masters that are going to guide human evolution and humanity as a whole. A literal underground mystery school that was accessible only to the spiritually awakened. And some occultists even taught that these beings would communicate telepathically or via dreams. And then things took a darker turn. During the 1930s and the 1940s, during the 1930s and the 1940s, certain figures in the Nazi regime became obsessed with ancient myths, esotericism, and Aryan origins. Groups like the Thule Society and the Anunnaki, I don't know, who cares? Fuck Hitler.
Them.
These were Hitler's archaeology divisions.
Triple fuck them.
Yeah. And they wanted evidence of a lost Nordic super race. And some believe that this race had retreated underground to Agartha or another place called Thule. According to post-war rumors, Nazi expeditions were sent to Tibet and Antarctica to search for Agarthan entrances. Some claim that the Nazi elite escaped into Agartha at the end of World War II, which we heard that in Hollow Earth Theory. Mm-hmm. And others allege that all of their like new technology and the shit that they were testing was discovered there or gifted by Agarthan beings. But much of this is like myth.
Well, that's crazy.
And also, like, if they're there for humanity, like, it goes back to Buddhism and Hinduism. Yeah. Why would they give that to the Nazis?
And they wouldn't.
They wouldn't.
And if this is like a very peaceful...
it has like little to no credible evidence, any of those claims.
Well, I don't believe a word that comes out of any of their fucking mouths.
Yeah, same.
So there's that.
Moving on. And then in the 1980s...
It's 627.
Weird. So and weird. Then in the 1980s and 1990s, which was, we know, peak spiritual movement, spiritualists claimed to be in contact with Agarthan beings. They were highly evolved. They were light-based entities who lived beneath Mount Shasta. And inside these crystal cities or in fifth dimensional realms below Earth's crust, which is where we hear about Lemuria or Lemurians, they claim that they were responsible for operating energy grids to keep Earth in balance, and that they warned humanity about climate change and nuclear weapons. They also believe that this was more than just the Agarthans, and that Agartha is actually home to survivors from Atlantis, Lemuria, and all of those other ancient civilizations. It was like a refuge for them before the Great Flood. So they're saying Agartha is like the main hub.
Yeah.
And anybody that escaped before the Great Flood into those tunnels that they created live in Agartha, is the rumor.
Okay.
This is also when the belief of the Grand Lodge came about. So the Grand Lodge is a council that is made up of ascended masters who secretly control the world. It's basically another word for the Illuminati, if some people believe in. They believe that these are ascended masters that lived in the advanced civilization of Agartha under the earth. Moving on from our timeline here, some versions of Agartha lore describe not just one city, but actually 7 major cities that are located throughout the hollow or the inner earth. The most famous is Telos, which is beneath Mount Shasta. We talked about, and that was a great episode. Love that episode.
Yeah,
the Lemurians in Mount Shasta.
I love
so
that
Telos,
episode.
And others are said to be located under the Amazon, the Gobi Desert, and even Tibet. I have to cover the Gobi Desert because there's a lot of spiritual
it's
connection.
Brought up like 15 times already, and I feel like there's been multiple other times that we've like
mentioned it
in
for
passing
sure.
for one of these cases.
And each of these famous 7 cities are associated with a different spiritual purpose, like one healing, one science, one music, one cosmic communication, astrology, so on and so forth. It's also believed that Agartha isn't just a hidden civilization, but a part of a larger galactic alliance of spiritual beings.
Ooh.
And that the Agarthans are kind of like Earth's ambassadors that work alongside the other races to help Earth ascend, help us as humans ascend. Like they're like our puppeteers.
Got you.
So they're trying to guide us,
so
and we're like,
simulation.
yeah, they're in charge of the simulation.
We're just running around like a bunch of cats.
And then there's also the brief theory of Agartha and DNA activation. Some link Agartha to a sort of DNA awakening, suggesting that contact with Agarthan beings or simply just meditating on their frequencies can activate these dormant strands of human DNA that will allow humans to regain ancient knowledge, psychic abilities, and even extend lifespans. Please let me in on that.
Yeah, where can we get that?
Where can we find
Where's the entrance?
That?
We will be there. Just tell us what
Kentucky?
time.
It's only a couple
We'll be
hours.
there, no problem.
And of course, something like this is believed to be covered up. Many believe that the ancient civilization of Agartha is covered up by the military and government forces who have encountered entrances to Agartha and have sealed these entrances off. Or they discredit those that have came out and said that they have been into this world, such as Admiral Richard Byrd and his journal entries, which we discussed in the Hollow Earth theory.
Right.
Circling back to where we started, Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash is said to be one of the primary entrances to Agartha because there's multiples all over the world because of a couple things. Number one, its energetic hotspot. This makes sense, especially with the rumors that the Agarthans operate Earth's energy grids from underground. So naturally, Kailash would be one of their command centers, I guess you would call it, and give off that freaky energy.
Right.
Number two, it's inaccessible. No one has ever climbed Mount Kailash, not because it's difficult, but because those that have tried have been met with resistance, sometimes unexplainable resistance. And some believe that this is actually divine protection for the entrance into Agartha. Others say that it's because the summit is not meant for human eyes, because we would probably die looking at something like that above a frequency that we can even fathom. And then number three, the time and reality distortion. Like we said last week, people have experienced their nails and their hair growing way faster near Mount Kailash, as well as time speeding up and time slowing down.
So there's definitely an entrance at Dyatlev's Pass.
Probably. A lot of people correlate this to a dimensional shift because they're not saying that Agartha, like, they're saying that the core and the inner core and all that is probably there. But this is a different dimension underneath of us. It's like the core of the earth in a different realm. So they're saying that the time and the distortion correlates with a dimensional shift. Nobody thinks that Agartha is below our feet in reality, but that they are in an entirely different dimension below us. This makes sense if you have to cross realms to get there. If Mount Kailash was an access point, then yeah, time and reality would distort for the average human being. So
it's kind of like the upside down.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily underneath
Maybe
you.
that's Stranger Things is inspo.
When's that coming out?
Soon, I think. And I saw a theory for that on TikTok today that was one of the best theories I have ever seen in my life. And
I hope you liked it because I would like you to send it to me. You just don't be liking shit enough so you can track it down.
I'm a reposter.
Yeah, but
I'm a chronic
you
TikTok
don't
reposter.
repost like the stuff like that though. Did you repost it?
I don't know if I did.
But it was
just
like funny things.
It was never about Will, that it's actually about Hopper's daughter Sarah and the parallels of his grief and also Sarah's cancer death. And
I forgot
Will.
about Sarah.
Exactly. They're like, it's in front of us all along. There's been like certain teddy bear or certain stuffed animals that Will had in like season 1 that Sarah was then shown to have in the hospital that Hopper picks up in the upside down. So people think that it's actually like about Sarah, that Vecna was, the first one to take Sarah. Anyway.
Oh my, wow.
That was the theory.
That's
kind of crazy.
Yeah, I need to rewatch everything.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question for you. So I have if you're not wanting to wait until the end of times, 2020, 24-24 and 24-25, there is a way that you can connect with Agartha, but I also have a Reddit post that I want to read. So which one should I do first? Because I will say the Reddit post is from No Sleep Thread, so it's not real. It's just like a creepypasta, but it's good. You want to do the Reddit post?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the No Sleep thread, and it's from Dodasmurph768, which is so weird because we call my dog Coda Doda, and we used to call Gretchen Marf, and the name was Doda Marf.
What?
Is this one of my siblings?
Yeah, wait. Who's writing on No Sleep in your family right now? Because check in.
What the fuck?
Check in.
That's
bitch.
weird. Okay. It says, I work at the airport and a man showed me a passport from an unidentified country. I sip my now cold coffee just praying something interesting would happen. This is a typical of most work days, except today it actually happened. It's still fresh in my head. This man walked up with the swagger of a millionaire and spoke to me in some unfamiliar language like I was supposed to know what the hell he was saying. I figured that it was something I didn't know or some other aggressive language. I'm not saying what he said there because that's what it sounded like. So I notified my manager because I was not about to deal with this shit this early in the day. I simply just don't get paid enough. After 5 minutes of my manager talking with his hands, people started getting frustrated and moving to other lanes. I nudged my manager, letting him know how long this was dragging on, and he signaled that he understood. We lightly guided the man by the arm to our questioning room because we couldn't get him to give us some form of identification. He struggled, as I would suspect most people would, and this was the first time we had ever used the room since I began working here. I was kind of excited. I would be too.
Yeah.
As a TSA agent, I'd be
so
like, let's
excited.
go.
Yeah.
First time
let's
in the
go to the
questioning room.
motherfucking room.
My manager continued his arm flailing for another 2 minutes before I decided to step in and give it a try. I pulled out my driver's license and pointed to it and then to him, hoping that something would happen. He responded with an understanding face and then his passport. His passport seemed legit, only that it was from some place called Agartha or something like that. We didn't know what to make of it, but he stared at us, as serious as he could be, letting out the occasional mumble in the still unidentified language. Eventually, we called in an officer of foreign affairs from the FBI, and this thing got serious very quickly, as we couldn't find any answers and the TSA does not fuck around. He provided unidentified currency, photos from an unidentified land, and then also the fucked up passport. This FBI guy was baffled. He had no clue what to do, so he eventually gave this man a map and after some more arm flailing, managed to ask him where he was from, geographically speaking. This man looked at the map for a minute and then adamantly pointed to the middle of the Atlantic, maybe a little closer to Britain than the US, but adjacent to New Jersey. This officer looked baffled, and after some phone calls, he took the man's bag, something the man tried to fight, and then placed him in handcuffs and transported him to a nearby jail cell. The FBI officer called in some more officers, detectives I'm assuming, and called in my manager and I. Apparently, our quote real-time eyewitness accounts were invaluable. We began to unpack the bag and found more ordinary objects from this unidentified land, such as postcards, a laptop with a brand that no one had ever heard of, and some more photos. These photos are what has been keeping me up for the past 20 hours. They were grayscale Polaroid-esque pictures, and their contents were of some unidentified land from a large tower, a bird's eye view of the city, if you will. The city was decimated. Bodies everywhere. The photographer seemed to be the only living one in the area. These pictures continued from what must have been 20 photos, constantly following the location of the last picture, all leading to one obscure house in the city until we got to the last one. It was a picture of a man, looking at the camera hopelessly, hands chained to the wall with something tied in between his teeth. He still had this business attire on, but was missing a button up under his blazer. His skin was exposed, and we could see unattended cuts festering at his skin. The man looked to be on his last breath. After seeing this, the officers apparently rushed to the jail cell for questioning, but when they got there, they were told the man had never arrived. From this point forward, I can attest to the validity of this story, as I have just heard through my manager what happened next, or I can't attest. Apparently, they ordered the police station to track down the squad car using GPS, but the car's locator no longer existed. It hadn't given off a signal in 13 minutes, and nobody had heard from the two officers. It's been 20 hours and there's still no word, as far as I've heard, on the location of this man, but I got way more than I bargained for at work yesterday. So no sleep can be real, can not be real, just to preface that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were commenting and they were like, basically saying like that was a warning, like he showed you what will happen. Like, yeah. It was a humanity warning, came from Agartha, like he knew he'd be caught at the airport and left that bag. Crazy fucking shit.
That's crazy.
I thought it was a cool story though. I thought it was a good story. I thought it was written really, really well.
And it wasn't like some no sleep gets just like too much into the weeds and you're like, okay, it's not even real at all.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like it was written well because he like emphasized that like, okay, that's what he's from Agartha, right?
Yeah.
He's got all of this technology. Like he hit every point of that theory, and then also like the end of humanity, but without being like he threatened us that the end of humanity was coming. It was like these I thought it was a goodly nicely written story. Okay, but before I am done here, like I said, if you don't want to wait until the end of times to find out if the Agarthans are real and will come and save us from destruction, I put together a step-by-step modern guide on how to connect with them through New Age and esoteric traditions.
Okay.
So, number one, obviously, if you don't want to do this, you can jump ahead like 5 minutes. We're not gonna. I'm just giving you directions. We're not doing like a full meditation here. But number one, you want to set the space, find a quiet space, dim the lights, burn incense, place crystals around you, and then you want to ground yourself. Sit or lie down comfortably, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and start imagining roots growing from the base of your spine or your feet, traveling down into the earth, through the soil, the stone, and into this crystal cavern world, all the way to the golden light at the core. And you want to feel yourself anchored, supported, and safe. And then you want to activate the heart. Many teachings say that communication happens through the heart chakra, not the mind. So you want to focus your attention on the center of your chest. You're going to imagine a soft green or a golden light glowing there. And with each breath, you're going to watch that light expand. And you'll say silently or loud, I open my heart to wisdom, to peace, and to the light of inner earth. Then you're going to visualize this Agarthan gateway. You're standing at the entrance to this crystal cavern. The walls are glowing. It's filled with these ancient symbols, a low hum, a frequency that is way higher than you can imagine. And there is a doorway in front of you. Beyond the door is a long staircase or tunnel leading down, not into darkness, but into a space that has gentle golden light. And then you're going to ask to connect. You're going to ask with respect and clarity, silently or out loud, that you ask to connect with the beings of Agartha, with those aligned in peace. This is important. With those aligned in peace, wisdom, and love. And if it is for your highest good, then you welcome them in their guidance. Then you're going to wait, you're going to listen, you're going to observe, and you may hear a name or a voice, see a being or a temple, feel a presence, or receive a sudden intuitive thought. And then you're going to receive that and record. And then stay as long as you willingly like to. You're going to imagine retracing your steps, walking back up that tunnel out of the gateway, bringing you the light message or energy that you received. Open your eyes, take a few breaths, and then close with gratitude. Maybe say thank you to the light of Agartha, and then release that connection in peace and love. And then this keeps it nice, clear, and respectful.
And we're done.
And we're done with that. If you tried this and didn't feel anything dramatic, a lot of people say that this connection takes practice, but those that have worked with Agarthan energies before have reported more vivid dreams and a deepening of peace and compassion.
Wow.
So if you guys wanted to do that, do it safely.
Feel free.
Do it safely. I don't feel any bad vibes from it.
No.
I mean, this is something that dates back into, ancient Buddhism and Hinduism. So I don't feel any bad vibes from it.
I don't either.
Respectfully, obviously, if you.
Well, hey, and also, you're not feeling connected to them, basically do that same exact thing until you pull away from your body and astral project.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I would love to do that again.
Yeah.
That was so fun. I really liked that.
Anyway, that is, the lost civilization of Agartha.
Though,
it is crazy. Like, actually how
long it goes. And because, like, when we were doing, like, Lumerians and stuff, like you
they were
still
a civilization.
didn't have, but you didn't have, like.
I think the difference of Telos and Lumerians and Agarthans and Agartha is that the Lumerians, they have they were probably here. This is what they lived. This is what they looked like. They were up on Earth. This is so fucking old.
Right.
That King M is like, these are the banished people and their higher power.
Right.
Like, they're probably not what we would ever imagine.
Well, that and like with the Lumerians, it was that they live in the mountain, like that they live under our feet, which like this is nothing like that. This is dead ass the upside down.
Yeah.
That's there spiritually, but not physically.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes me wonder, they say it's beneath us, but wouldn't that mean that our energy would be higher? So, like, wouldn't they be above us?
Right. Well, no, because I think that.
Well, what if we're not even on the outside of Earth?
Right.
Right.
Right. What if we're in it? What if we're in a dome?
What if we're in
dome theory?
What if it's a flat Earth?
I mean, I feel like a lot of different religions have heaven and hell in a different way, and not all of them view hell as fiery hell beneath your feet. Like it's more as like a fallen. I don't know.
Yeah, like
I don't know how. I don't know.
Drop in vibration.
I have a thought in my head. I just don't know how to put it into words.
Yeah, there's not like proper words for it.
But there are some religions out there that their hell is not an evil place.
No.
And it's not even beneath sometimes.
No,
so
it's just like purgatory. It's not like punishment.
So yeah, who's to say that up isn't down and down isn't up?
Well, because this is down. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but what
is
if
this hell?
Are we in purgatory?
It's 100 degrees,
though, like,
so...
Are they really going to wait till 24? Like, I feel like we're pushing the limit.
I feel like we're pushing the envelope a bit.
Like, I feel like we're hitting that war greed era. We've been there for about 100 years.
I know.
And, like, when are they, like, how...
Can it get much worse than this?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, when does it end?
How bad does it have to get before they just come, you know?
Where's the future King Buddha?
Right, where's he
And
at?
why isn't he here yet?
Maybe everyone's right.
But what I'm thinking, what if the sky is actually down and the ground is up and we're floating upside down? Whoa.
Okay, so if we were to just send something to... Okay, we take this candle on the table and we go up into space on Blue Origin beside Katy Perry and she's singing What a Beautiful World.
We're in the Blue Origin.
And then we have to witness Bezos fake unlock the door that we had already unlocked. But prior to that, before we get back to Earth, when we're still up into space, we open this little window and we release the candle out into space. Which direction does it float?
Anywhere, because there's no gravitational pull.
But like
kind of floats into orbit. I don't know.
See, like what way
and
does orbit
at what point does
go?
it start burning up and going faster?
And by the way, do all the planets orbit the same way? Wait, do we orbit clockwise?
I don't know.
The Earth spins, east. Yeah, clockwise. Yeah, clockwise. I'm thinking of the time zones.
I'm just thinking of the little planet things we used to have.
Wait.
And I think they do.
If this is the sun and this is East Coast, that means...
Okay, now we're
going counterclockwise. We go around the sun clockwise and we circle on our axis counterclockwise. Right?
Rotate Earth clockwise. No, Earth does not rotate clockwise.
We go counter.
It rotates counterclockwise, also known as prograde.
But around the sun, do we go counterclockwise?
No, the Earth does not orbit the sun clockwise.
Then why the fuck do we have the clocks going the other way?
So we're going clockwise and then also clockwise. So why do clocks go? Because we're in hell.
Because we're in the upside down.
We're in the upside down.
We're in the upside down.
Well, there you have it.
There we go. We cracked the case. Don't have to fret anymore about it. Say your prayers tonight, and that'll be that.
Yep. That'll be that.
I could never come off of a creepy episode like that without having some absolutely mind-shattering thought like that. Why do our clocks go? Like, okay. Here's the real reason why our clocks go clockwise.
She wouldn't know this.
It's because of the sundial.
I had a diagnosis for you.
The sundial... Of what?
Oh, just as continue.
Oh, okay. The sundial goes clockwise because we spin counterclockwise times 2. And so that makes sense. Like, the sun goes around us like this. So on a sundial, it would go clockwise.
Okay.
Because it's a reflection. Light's a reflection, so it's mirrored.
Okay. Is that true?
I mean, I just put 2 and 2 together. I'm not like scientifically got sources
You lost
behind
me.
it.
I didn't follow you. But this is your new diagnosis. It's called hyperthymesia, or HSAM, or highly superior autobiographical memory. And it's a rare condition.
Okay.
The condition characterized by the ability to recall a vast number of personal life events with remarkable detail and clarity. I meant to send you this the other day. I saw a TikTok on it, but I forgot to.
Yeah.
And basically, you can remember what people are wearing, what date it was, the time, the week.
When I got my hair done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a rare condition called highly superior autobiographical memory, or hyperthymesia.
Well, thank God.
The ability to remember virtually every detail of your life.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Except for I don't remember like birth or anything like that.
That's actually how I got there. I saw a TikTok.
Wait, I saw that video.
And then I like kept going down a rabbit hole, and then I got to this.
I don't even think I finished the first video because the girl was talking slow as hell. Yeah. And I was like, you got to speed it up.
Yeah, it was a video of the mom over her daughter, and she was like, well, what did you eat when you were in the womb?
Yes, that one.
And she was like, turkey sandwich.
I watched that. I went to a second one. It was like a scientist or somebody explaining it, and that bitch was talking so slow. I had to move on. I was like, take me back to FYP. I'm going back to FYP. Yeah. No, that's right. I do have that. I do, to some extent, not to the extent.
I think maybe like right after toddler years, like you can remember a lot of stuff.
I can remember a lot.
I don't remember anything.
Like I remember every detail of every day that Lil and Phoebe were born. Mm-hmm. I could walk them through it if they'd like. I was at Denny's when Mom's water broke.
See?
Yeah. And I was eating the goldfish in that little thing. And it wasn't the colored ones, which they normally had at that Denny's. It was regular ones. I was pissed about it.
Yeah, that's annoying and that's rude.
It was.
I didn't even know there was Denny's down south, so that's news to me. All right.
It's gone now.
What you got for us?
Okay, so the case I have for you guys is actually a mini case that we told over on Patreon a few months ago, but it was just so crazy that we wanted to bring it to you, and we low-key kind of jinxed ourselves because a few weeks ago on the podcast we were like, oh my god, we haven't pulled the Patreon card in so long. It's happening. You will understand why we had to pull the Patreon card in 3 weeks from now, whenever I get done with a two-parter that was not meant to be a two-parter that I worked so hard on.
It's okay.
It's fun. Okay, so this is the case of Theodore John Conrad, who went by Ted. He was born in Denver, Colorado on July 10th, 1949, as the son of Edward and Ruthbeth Kruger Conrad, where he lived with his parents until they divorced while he was in elementary school, at which point he moved with his mother and sister to Lakewood, Ohio. There he attended Lakewood High School, where he was very popular and known for his intelligence and charm. He had an IQ of 135, meaning he was gifted. And after graduating in 1967, he went on to enroll at New England College in New Hampshire, where his father, a retired Navy captain, was an assistant professor of political science. But he left after one semester and transferred to, holy hell, I cannot believe I've done this again, Cuyahoga Community College in Ohio.
Cuyahoga.
And that's what we're calling it. And I know you guys corrected me on that, but I've never gotten it right. I've literally never once. Even when I try, I've never gotten it right. So we're leaving it at that. Where he got his first quote-unquote grown-up job in early 1969 at the Society National Bank headquarters in Cleveland, Ohio at just 19 years old. He was a very well-liked and trusted employee, which made him the perfect teller in the cash vault, meaning that he would package up the money to be delivered to other bank branches around the city, which was only a job for the most capable and trustworthy of employees. So that tells you all you need to know about who Ted was, even as a 19-year-old. He was this all-American military kid with incredible intelligence, people skills, and a model of responsibility, even at such a crazy time to be working in a bank in Ohio. So how did he end up working for this bank at 19 after just moving over?
Really, that's kind of impressive.
That's really impressive, because it actually was like never a thing that he was interested in. Like he wasn't necessarily going to college to become a bank teller or like anything like that in finance. I don't really know what his career path was at this point, but I know for a fact it had nothing to do with working in a bank. So how the hell did he get to this point in his life? Well, in typical Logan after watching Top Gun Maverick fashion, Ted had watched the 1968 film that was released starring Stephen McQueen called The Thomas Crown Affair, and Ted was obsessed with it, like Logan wanting to buy buy a bike after watching Maverick. We'll never get over it. We'll never get over it. We'll never get over it. It is. It's like, I want to do that.
It's like, I saw this TikTok. Well, this is about like sports. Like, you know how like Aaron does it? He'll just get up and like start faking like a golf swing.
Yeah.
Like wanting me to watch. Mm-hmm. And they say that's like boys stimming. Like they sports stem.
Yeah, they do.
And we stem in other ways.
We do.
Like that's when they're stressed. That's when they're anxious. They just like jump up and like fake sporty stuff.
That's right. That is what they do. What do we do?
If we're stimming, I mean, I do a whole lot of stuff.
I can't even. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton that I do, but
like I'll get
maybe
up,
I just like get up and clean. Yeah. Like I'll get up and I'll clean something, or I'll go work on something, or I'll go outside and I'll work on something.
Yeah, they don't do that. They just.
I'm like, will you just go mow the fucking lawn? Actually,
I know, actually that needs done.
Can that be your little stem that you're doing? Because what the hell? Okay, so anyways, that's what happened with Ted. He becomes so obsessed with the Thomas Crown Affair, which has been remade several times since. So like some people may have watched it. I've never seen it. I did watch a bunch of videos about it, so I can tell you about it. But either way, he watched this movie, quote, over a dozen times, according to his family and friends. And basically in this film, Stephen McQueen played this millionaire bank robber dude named Thomas Crown Fair, who was handsome, cultured, and an adrenaline junkie who, out of boredom, masterminded a 5-man heist of $2.66 million from a bank in Boston, which would be like $17.8 million as of 2023. Sheesh. So that's where Ted's fascination of banks came from. And like another thing about this movie is that the 5 people that are involved in the heist, they never know who the other 4 people are that are working on it with them. They never see them before. They never hear their voices. It's all through like letters that are typed out and stuff.
Anonymity.
Yeah, so you just have to trust that one of the other 4 people that are doing this heist with you are doing their job when they go in there, because you have no idea if the person beside you...
Did you watch it?
No. I told you, I watched a bunch of videos on it, but I should watch it. But basically they were saying that like, you don't know if the person that is beside you in the line or in front of you in the line is helping you in the heist, or if they're just a regular person.
Yeah.
So, sounds like a really good movie.
Yeah, it does sound like a good movie.
Well, about after 6 or so months had gone by with Ted working at the Society National Bank headquarters on Friday, July 11th, 1969, Ted does the unthinkable for anyone who knew him. It was the day after his 20th birthday, and Ted went into work as if it was any other day. That morning, he showed up to work, he collected all the money from the vault, he sent it to the other branches, as he typically would. But it was on his lunch break that things began straying from his normal routine. Instead of grabbing his regular quick lunch, he walked about a block over to this liquor store and he purchased a bottle of Canadian Club whiskey, which obviously came in a brown paper bag. Now, I told our
lunch break.
I told our listeners, our Patreons, our Big Money Ballin' Bitches, that because I originally wrote this script to be a regular episode, like for this to happen, and I realized how short it was, so I'd gone back before I decided to make it into a mini. And I was gonna talk about the legal drinking age, you know, because he was 20 and then 20, you know, you have to be 21 to drink now. And then I like sent me down a whole spiral, and then I was like, okay, that's gonna be too long and then too much. And then I was like, actually, let me just make this a mini. But long story short, the drinking age in the U.S. is crazy. And if you don't know the history of it, and then it's like also you were grandfathered in, and then it's just really crazy. It had to do with the voting age, and then, oh my God. So... and prohibition, we could go on for hours. So,
yeah, we could.
Anyways, we're not going to get into that today, but I encourage you to go do a little spiral if you're feeling antsy. Anyways, back to the story. So Ted goes to work after buying this Canadian Club whiskey in a paper bag, continues on. He doesn't drink it or anything. He just grabbed that on his lunch break and he went back to working. So fast forward to the end of the day, Ted and the other employees are like finishing up with their closing time to-dos when he tells his like vault partner that it was okay for them to leave because he just had to do a few more things and it was going to take him a little bit longer. So he was like, I don't want to hold you up. And the partner's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Clocks out for the day. Now, when you work in a vault, you have to, there's like always 2 people. You have to have like a witness with you. So this shouldn't have ever happened, but it happened.
But they trusted him.
But they really liked
bottle
him.
Of
right.
whiskey.
He's fine. So the partner's like, thanks, Ted, for being a G, and they clocked the hell out. Meanwhile, Ted walks...
I would have done the same.
Me too.
I'm like, you got it?
You got it?
Man,
cool.
like,
what am I supposed to do? What if you...
Sorry, sir, I think you're going to rob.
And then also, like, if you did rob it in front of me, what am I going to do?
Right. I'm nobody.
I know. I'm like, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to get in harm's way.
It ain't my money.
No, it's not.
Go
like,
get it.
It's not bothering me. It's not taking anything away from me. So, like... do your
I would
thing.
have been like, all right, yeah, you got it, man, bye.
Yeah, and then I would call 911, like, once you were out of the way and moved down a little bit, because I'd be rooting for you secretly.
Like, hey,
this is me calling the police. Hello. Yeah, me taking my time to get it out. Well, what's the address? Linda, can you pull that up? What's the address to the building? Taking my sweet
name
time.
Is? Well, actually, my maiden name
Right.
is.
Do you want my middle name? How do you want it? You want
Did you
surname?
need my social security? I'm kind of getting the 6 and the 9 confused.
The phone number that I'm calling off of, I don't know. It's a landline for the bank. Let me ask Linda. Linda, Like, that would literally be how long I took to report that. I give you a good heads up. Anyways, so Ted, you know, he sends his little buddy off, and he, meanwhile, walks back into the vault, and he stuffs 215,000, which is today 1.9 roughly million, puts it into that paper bag from the liquor store, which, like, how fucking big was this paper bag?
No, really?
Yeah.
How big was the whiskey bottle?
Because I'm sitting here thinking,
we got a handle here?
No, it's a thin one. It's like maybe back in the day they didn't have thin ones. They only had lunch bag ones. I don't know.
Maybe.
He shoves $215,000 into that little paper round bag, which is 1.9 mil today, and he leaves the Canadian whiskey bottle in the vault on the shelf where all the money he just stole was.
That is like the epitome of fuck you.
Like, the boldness. And like, I wish I could ask, like, what the significance of that was. Like, did that happen in the Thomas Crown affair? Or, like, what the hell is that about? Either way, he locks up the vault door behind him. He clocks out and he heads to the doors, the front doors of the building, where he sits and he chats with the security guard for a few minutes with that brown paper bag in his hand. And then he just walks out of the bank. And he did it on this particular day, a Friday, because he knew that he would be the last one out of the vault and was supposed to be the first one in the vault Monday morning.
You know, ideally, you want to pick Labor Day and Memorial Day.
Right.
A holiday
Extended,
on a Monday.
a bank holiday, a long weekend. But when Ted didn't show up for work on that Monday and another teller had to fill in for him to go into the vault, it was only then that anyone realized that Ted had stolen all that money, meaning he had over 48 hours to flee before anyone even noticed the money was missing. Now, being completely honest, I'm not shocked actually that this happened at this particular bank headquarters. In fact, I'm surprised that it didn't happen every day of the week because they had very little to no, and when I say very little to no, I mean pretty much zero security. Only that dude that he was chatting up with the money that he had stolen at the front door. They didn't have like security systems, and they didn't even fingerprint their employees. I know this is like 1969, but like we've been around the block with bank robberies since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Especially early 1900s.
Oh my God. Like what hello Google Gemini, tell me what the very first bank robbery was in history.
Not your best friend Gemini.
I know, me and her are becoming
not
good
Google
queens.
Being a Gemini.
I know. But I do like Geminis, but that's because I'm a cusp. So I got a little bit of Gemini in me. And I do see that.
Yeah.
I do.
I don't know much about them, but your girl
Em and
Google.
Christine are both Geminis.
Okay.
Jerry is a Gemini from Ladies and Tangents. Who else is a Gemini? No, Jerry is not. Jerry is not a Gemini. Sierra's a Cancer. Me and her have the same birthday.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Who else is a Gemini? There's like a lot of people.
What's the cusp? July what?
So June 20th is the start of Cancer to like July 21st, question mark? And then, or maybe it's like June 22nd, I don't know. Into May, the first half of June is Gemini.
Oh, I thought Gemini was after Cancer.
No, before.
Gemini is after Taurus.
Yes.
So my mom's a Gemini.
Yes. Speaking of, I think it's either
And
Em
my
or
dad?
Christine's birthday today.
My mom's a Gemini.
That makes so much sense, actually.
Wow.
100% that makes sense. I see it.
Wow.
Yeah, that is true. She is twofold. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You never know what you're going to get with BB.
Yeah. Wow.
With some big attitude.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get with BB.
No, you really don't. You're going to get front facing or back facing. We don't know. Is she going running or is she slamming
a vodka cranberry Red Bull?
Lemon drops or whatever she's been doing recently? Yeah, is she having a Kettle One or what is?
Who knows?
What's the night for BB look like?
You never know with BB.
Did she run a marathon this morning? And what's next?
Right.
And she got her hair done right after the marathon.
Yep. And her
never know.
nails done.
Right. And she's always got a sweet little treat.
Always has her Coke ice.
Always. Okay. We're going to get back to this case now. So, they don't fingerprint. How did we get there?
Google Gemini.
Google Gemini. Okay, there we go. Immediately upon realizing that the robbery had happened, a warrant was issued for Ted's arrest on charges of embezzlement and misappropriation of funds. And then 2 months later, he was indicted in federal court and charged with embezzlement and making a false entry in the records of a bank. But still, let's dig into the immediate investigation after. I just wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way, just in case you were wondering what was going on legally as the investigation was going on. Remember how I said that it was shocking to everyone that knew him that he had done this? Well, it was more so shocking that he had actually done it, because he had told several people he was gonna do this.
I'm gonna rob the bank.
And everyone was like, dude, they were just convinced that he was joking.
What's his name again?
Ted.
All right, Teddy.
Yeah, they were all thinking like, dude, just stop watching the fucking Thomas Crown Affair.
Yeah,
like, please,
you're obsessed.
You're done. You're being crazy. They were like, he's just like hyper fixated on this movie. That's all that he's gonna do. They did not think he was actually gonna rob a bank. So with this being a bank robbery, and not just any bank robbery though, because this was the largest bank robbery in Cleveland history, the FBI comes in to investigate, and they're hot and heavy and madder than hell. By June 15th, 4 days after the robbery, the FBI had taken official lead on the case and swarmed the Cleveland area, pulling all of Ted's family, friends, and even his girlfriend at the time into interrogations to try and track him down. By this point, they only had one thing to work off of, and that was the letters that he had been sending to his girlfriend. One had been sent from the International Airport in DC, and the second one had been sent from Inglewood, California, LAX. In these letters, he confessed to the crime and even expressed regret for committing the robbery, before also asking his girlfriend, to burn the envelope so that the FBI would not be able to track him through the postmarks, which clearly she didn't read or didn't care, despite the fact that it seemed as if they had a pretty good trail to follow him on based off these letters. The leads quickly dried up in tracking him down, because I think he stopped sending letters. I don't know if she was like, hey, I actually told the FBI, or if the FBI was intercepting them and because she wasn't writing back. But like, again, we had this conversation in the mini. Where the fuck is she supposed to write back to?
Yeah, how does she know
where
to go?
She wouldn't.
Unless it's like at a post office where he's hanging around for quite some time.
But he wouldn't do that because he's on the run. And then also in the letters, he was like, basically saying like, I regret doing this because I didn't realize I was essentially trading you, my girlfriend, for $215,000.
Yeah. Well, what'd you think?
Was 1.9 today, so let me tell you,
You think you're just gonna come back and
yeah,
like, I got 1.9 mil.
And I remember he also had written in the letters like, if you can just wait on me, we can meet up, but you have to be on my side. And I'm sure that went downhill very fucking quickly. She's handing all this shit over to the FBI.
I probably would too. I'd be like, he fucking left me.
He fucking left me, but I don't know if I knew you had 1.9 mil just waiting on me.
Especially where we find out he was
name changed. And I'm also on the run. Baby, take me on the run with you.
Yeah.
I'll ditch everyone. Let's go. We can live a lavish life. So, despite the fact that they really kind of had like a good grasp on his trail based off of these letters and postmarks, the leads actually dried up really quick. That is until October of that year, 3 months later, when an old Ohio couple was vacationing in Honolulu, Hawaii. This young man had been hanging out around them on the beach, and the husband got to talking with this young man. After about 20 minutes of chatting with each other, and they were really, really getting on, the young man invites them over to his place for a drink. Now, the old man was immediately like, oh, hell yeah. But before they got up to head over to his apartment, hotel room, house, we don't have any clarity on that, the old man mentions that both he and his wife were from Beechwood, Ohio. At which point, this young man got visibly like nervous and rescinded his drink offer by making up some excuse that he needed to leave at that very moment. He was like, oh my God, I have an appointment. I've totally forgot about it. I'm so sorry. Like, we'll link back up. Bye. Peace out. Didn't give them like a name, a number, anything. He just dipped. They say their goodbyes. They shared like a handshake and they went about their lives. Now, fast forward to a week later, that couple gets home from Hawaii and they're looking through the newspaper to get caught up on, the shit that had gone down.
Part about all of that
is the newspaper?
Is a flight to Hawaii at what year? The
1969.
Hell to the no.
Actually, it was probably better. You were drinking, you were smoking, you were fucking I'm sure you were fucking, I'm sure you were dancing. Have you seen the pictures of what
I have?
Trains?
I just can't imagine because like the planes weren't as fast as they are now.
No, they were slow, but you were able to get up and smoke cigarettes. Like,
I would be terrified.
I'd be doing splits in the aisle, bitch, if I had that much drink.
Clubbing.
I'd be clubbing up front, ho. I'd be doing like crazy shit out there.
That is crazy. They smoke on planes. Like,
they were smoking
crazy.
on planes. They tell you not to smoke outside of
boxing.
They're like, hey, when you're at a gas pump, don't smoke a cigarette just in case. Yet they're smoking in tubes in the sky that are filled with fuel.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
It's a fire hazard.
Hotboxing it.
Hotboxing the hell out of it.
And now they're like FDA or what? Not FDA.
The
FAA
guidelines.
Felony.
Yeah, you get a felony. You hit that vape? You hit that vape in the bathroom?
Not us from
Prison.
Vegas to Nashville with our friend. We ripping the weed pen.
Oh, dude, on the Spirit Airlines.
Not our
He's
friend.
like, do you guys want to hit this? I created this strain of weed.
Was he sitting in between us?
Yes, he was sitting in between, because me and Morgan will never.
We should have swapped. One of us should have sacrificed.
No.
And it would have
because
not been me.
then only one of us would have, and guess who would have been me? It would have been me. That's what it would have been.
Actually, I probably should have been me. I would have shut him out. I've been like, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to. I'd
Yeah.
be like, actually, yeah, let me hit that.
Yeah, he was crazy.
He's like, what are they going to do? Stop this plane midair?
Fuck this flight. Fuck this plane. Like screaming
Dude,
at guys.
no. Okay, anyways.
And then
God,
telling us he's a
it's because we're doing a
Illuminati.
Patreon case that we feel like we're on Patreon.
I know.
Don't forget
I'm
the
done.
camera is on here.
I know. I'm sorry, guys.
Sorry. Actually, no, I'm not fucking sorry. This is who we truly are. You guys have just bullied us into hiding it behind a paywall. How do you feel?
How do you fucking feel?
How do you guys feel about that?
It was our network.
No, it's like, it's not you guys. It's not you guys. I actually want to tell you guys I really love you, but we'll come back to that. Okay, moving on. So I'll tell you at the end how much I love you. So old couple gets home from Hawaii after smoking, drinking, partying on their 32-hour flight back to Ohio from Hawaii, as any old people did back in 1969, catching up with what they had missed by going through the newspaper. Turn the page, and staring back at them is a giant wanted poster photo of the guy that they met on the beach and had a good relationship with and almost had drinks with in Hawaii. It was fucking Ted Conrad. They immediately, because they're not G's, I guess, called the FBI and reported this, who then immediately sent investigators and agents to that area where they had met him to search and like look at all the apartment complex, hotels,
now
wherever.
you got FBI agents on the plane smoking cigarettes and splits.
Doing splits, dancing disco, and having 13 Coke and rums, like that rum and Cokes on the plane. And by the time they get to Hawaii and they're like asking around, looking around, Ted's gone. Nowhere to be found.
He's gone.
So at this point, they had actually gone searching for him in DC, LA, and Hawaii with now zero luck or new leads. So they are burning it from both ends. And you know that they were just like so hyper focused on this thing because it makes them look like ass, and it makes everyone look like ass, and it makes it look like a bank robbery is easy, which at that time it 100% was, and I could have robbed a bank.
Yeah.
And that's all I need to know. Now, Ted Conrad and his crimes were featured on America's Most Wanted in several different episodes over the years, as well as Unsolved Mysteries, but nothing. There were no leads, no new tips, literally nothing. This was very frustrating to the FBI, but even more so frustrating to John K. Elliott, who was a deputy for the U.S. Marshals, who had been on the case since it happened. This was personal to John because he and Ted were from the same area, and he felt like Ted had busted into his parents' home and robbed them personally. That's how personal Mr. John K. Elliott took this crime that Ted had committed. He had dedicated his entire time, because like when he started in the Marshals,
I mean, it's not your money, dude.
it's so not that serious.
Like, let him go.
But it was so personal to him because he had just started in the Marshals when the crime happened, and he had dedicated his entire career and even his retirement into finding Ted.
It's kind of embarrassing.
And once he retired, his son, Peter J. Elliott, who had become a U.S. Marshal of the Northern District of Ohio in 2003, took over Ted Conrad's case after his father, already said that, after his father's retirement.
I mean, that's just kind of so dramatic.
I know. And then, I mean, they created a family trauma, a generational trauma off of this bank robbery that had nothing to do with them.
No, it wasn't even there. Maybe he had some savings in there.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe like that's where his parents like extra money was.
Maybe.
But like the bank is insured, so you get it back.
Yeah.
It's okay.
They just printed more. It's not even a big deal.
It's literally okay. It's literally okay. We're going to have people so tone up about that. We're joking around, okay? Calm down. Take it easy. So John never stopped searching for Ted, especially with his son Peter now by his side, even up until his death in March of 2020, at which point Peter decided that it was going to be his fucking mission to honor his father and find Ted Conrad. So now it's extra personal. It's as personal as you can get. Ted Conrad killed his dad.
Life vision.
Literally, like, this is so personal. Fast forward, he did not really kill his dad. I'm just being dramatic. Fast forward to November of 2021, 52 years after the robbery had taken place. Peter, John's son, finds an obituary from May of that year for a 71-year-old man who had passed away of lung cancer in Lynnfield, Massachusetts, which is 16 miles north of Boston. The man was named Thomas Rendell. He had died on May 18th, 2021. His birthday was July 10th, 1947, exactly 2 years earlier to the date of Ted Conrad's birthday. His parents' names were Edward and Ruthabeth, just like Ted's, with the mother's maiden name, Ruthabeth, being Kruger, just like Ted's, and again, just like Ted, Thomas had also graduated from New England College. Well, after some good old sleuthing and detective work that convinced Peter that Thomas Rendell had to be Ted Conrad, he decided to just pick up the phone and call the Rendell family. And they said, yeah,
that's my dad.
Ted Conrad. That's our dad. So let me fill you in on the backstory here. After going on the run and popping around the U.S. from D.C. to L.A., Hawaii, West Texas, and several other places, Ted Conrad had moved to Lynnfield, Massachusetts, and he settled down there in 1970 and began going by the name Thomas Rendell. Not long after moving there, he met his future wife, and the two got married in 1982 and eventually had a daughter together. He also began working for the Pembroke Country Club as a golf pro before rising to manager, and also worked as a salesperson for a luxury car dealership for 40 years. Everyone that ever met Thomas Rendell loved him. He was a super good guy. He was a big rule follower. Well, in March, of course he was, because he's running from the law. Well, in March of 2021, after his first chemo treatment to treat his lung cancer, he, his wife, and daughter were all at home sitting on the couch and watching NCIS together when out of nowhere, he looks over to them and he says, quote, "Ladies, just in case anything ever comes up, I had to change my name when I moved here. The authorities are probably still looking for me. I don't want to talk about it, but just so you know, in case it ever comes up, you're not blindsided." They kind of laughed and were like, okay, but then like continued watching NCIS. And the next day, his daughter, Ashley, sits down with him and kind of pushes him to give her some more info. Like, were you joking? Or like, what the fuck is that about? Like, what did you do? What was your name? And he finally decides to tell her, but made her promise to never look up anything until he dies. She agrees, and he tells her that his name is Ted Conrad. Well, just like we all would.
As a typical daughter would do with Google Gemini at their hand.
Google Gemini, my best friend, I had to call her up. So Ashley goes into her bedroom that night and she waits until the house is like completely silent. It's like 2:00 in the morning. She gets her laptop out or goes to dial up. I don't know what year this was. And no, it wasn't, because it was the same year he died. So it's been 2021.
I would have been on my phone right next to him.
Ted Conrad.
Like this.
And she said,
I'm not looking it up.
I'm not looking it up, Dad. I'm just writing it down so I don't forget. How do you spell that? C-O. Okay, good. So she walks into her bedroom, gets really late at night. She Googles Ted Conrad, and then she's like, in an interview, she's like, I put missing because I thought, you know, like, she didn't know what he had done, but she was like, obviously, like, someone's got to be looking for him, the authorities.
Right.
And everything pops up about the bank heist and being on the run and America's Most Wanted. And there's America's Most Wanted TV shows that popped up and Unsolved Mysteries. And she's like, oh my God. She never tells another soul. She deletes it. She goes incognito on searching, because then she's shitting her pants thinking like, oh my God. Well, his family was never charged for alerting the authorities of his confession that they made, or that he had made to them, or his identity. And that is the case of Ted Conrad, aka Thomas Rendell. But what I want to note here is that it has never, I said this, Morgan, it was probably like a Google ping for like those specific combination of details with like the maiden name of the mother, the name of the father, and you know, whatever. But like Peter has never said, and they make it a point to talk about this in every article that ever talks about this case. Peter has never revealed exactly how he put the pieces together.
Came across an obituary all that far away.
Random obituary.
People die every day. Multiple people die.
And have like had gone to the same colleges. Their parents were named the same thing.
There's
I mean,
thousands of obituaries in the newspaper every day,
and have been in history. And some people wonder if daughter had maybe called and was
when
like,
he died.
and then let Peter, because God forbid Peter let this family trauma go on any longer than it already has. He had to close the book on this.
Or she like emailed it anonymously.
But she wouldn't want to know, like it to be known that she ratted her dad out. But I tried to figure out like if they had gone and like got to meet any of his family, because you know he had a sister, he had a mom, he had a dad, and like did they know where he was? I could not find anything more on it. But it was just such a crazy story. Like this guy literally
lived his life,
just
man.
Ditched.
Wonder how long that money lasted him.
Probably a really long. He's really smart with his money.
Yeah.
Too. Like,
how did he hide it? I guess just cash.
It's just cash.
Or multiple banks.
He probably just kept it on him, honestly. I mean, if he got it out in one brown paper bag, you could keep that shit on you.
Paper must have been light then.
Light. You know what? I was thinking about that the other day. Dollar bills are thick as hell now. They used to just crumble up.
Yeah.
They don't really do that. It's kind of harder to get them all
and they have that
warm.
like almost like material. I can't even tell you what a dollar looks like right now. I haven't used cash in so long. Not really.
I have $100 bill,
like,
which you know I always keep $100 bill. I'm
those
strapped.
Are thick. Those are thicker than the dollar.
Thick. And I had 20 the other day.
Sheer thing on the
that little stick on the inside too. And then most of the dollar bills have that little stick on the inside now. I don't think a single dollar like
I don't think they do either.
Uno dollar bill.
I'm honestly
bring back $2 bills.
Get rid of $1 bills.
Well, no, we can't. Get rid of a $5 bill.
Nothing in this world costs under $5.
Yeah, actually, that's the truth. So just go ahead and make the $5 bill the $1 bill.
Make a $5 the $1, and we'll just start
what
there.
could you buy for $1?
I mean, the Dollar Tree is still, I think, $1.27.
Yeah, and then you go to Five and Below, everything's $7.
Yeah.
So
a footlong is like $15.
$5. You
Aaron
upped it by 10.
and I got 2 footlongs one day, and we were over $30 for 2. And bro gets no topping. So I'm like, this is a waste of fucking money.
You're joking.
At least maximize here.
Right, just get everything that they have in there.
Yeah.
Steal the store, actually.
Yeah, it was over $30.
That's...
Now, I was with cookies and a drink, but over 30 means the sandwiches had to be 15.
Yeah.
It was like probably $34.
Let me ask Gemini. What was I going to ask Gemini? I need to ask Gemini 2 things. Number 1, I need to ask what is the oldest bank robbery on record?
How much is a footlong now?
When was the first bank robbery in history? The first documented bank robbery in the United States occurred on August 31st, 1798 at the Bank of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. 2 men, a carpenter and a bank porter, entered the bank and stole $162,821. However, an innocent blacksmith named Patrick Lyon was mistakenly convicted and imprisoned for the crime. While there are some historical accounts of bank robberies in the past, such as the one in 1798 at the Bank of Pennsylvania, the first bank robbery in the U.S. is generally attributed to the theft from the Citibank of New York in March of 1831. In this incident, 2 men, James Honeyman and William J. Murray, used forged keys to enter the bank and steal $245,000.
Wow.
Damn.
All right, I'm acting like I'm ordering a sandwich from, let's do a spicy Italian.
Okay.
And let's do a footlong spicy Italian.
And this is the research that you fucking came here for today, Creeps and Crimies.
That is right.
Creeps and Crime Besties.
Toasted, save options. A footlong spicy Italian is $14.36.
$14.36.
It's ridiculous.
What type of increase is that?
What are you, 200%?
What do you do? Are you procuring the meat yourself?
That's crazy. $5 foot long at Subway. What happened to that? Bring the jingles back.
$5 foot long. Dead. Rip. Our kids will never know.
$15.
$15. Soggy ass bread.
foot long.
Literally.
Minimal toppings. We actually block it, so now you can't look at us. $15
What?
foot. Yeah, there's blocks now, so you can't see them make the sandwiches. That way you can't say, can I have more meat? Can I get more cheese? Can I have more lettuce?
So they're being so cheap on top of charging us extra.
Yeah.
Who wants to go burn
I'm
down a
sure
Subway?
that's actually really nice for a lot of the employees, because
Yeah.
I'm sure people are a pain in the ass. But like, also though, like if you're shorting me on pickles and there's 3 on a foot long, I'm gonna say, whoa.
I just would like to look so I could be like, actually, that looks really good.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be sitting there looking at like, actually, I think I want to add that. Like, I'm not being like, triple me up on the salami, because then I know you're going to have to, you know, triple me up on the price.
Right, that'll be a $30 sandwich right there.
But like, I'm just wanting, I want like 3
You
more
know the
cucumbers.
best
Is that
Subway
okay?
I have ever had in my life.
Was the day that we got it?
Was the day that we
That
got
was the best Subway in the world. And the women in there were so fun.
Yeah, that was
We had
good.
such a good time.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
That was when we were redoing the studio.
Home
We also had
Depot.
quarter pounders. We were cussing people out.
Yeah, we were doing a whole
It
lot.
was a good time. It was a good time. Okay, guys. Well, we will talk to you next week in episode 246. And also, I just want to tell you that I really love you and I really appreciate you.
We love you all. Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month. Happy Taylar Month. Love you.
Taylar Month.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Mwah.